I apologize for starting a couple minutes late.
You gonna start? She gonna go ahead and start.
Okay.
All right, so my name is Tamara Smith, and I am excited to be with you all this afternoon to talk about everyone's favorite topic, body image. Yay! Crowd goes wild. Not really. So we're gonna have fun though. We'll keep it engaging. We'll have lots of conversation. So hopefully that will disarm some of you. I'll try to tell a couple of bad jokes. That'll annoy the rest of you. But by the end of the day, y'all will actually walk away with some really good tools to move forward with. So before we get started, I guess I should introduce myself. My name is Tamara Smith. I work with Novant Health. I am the leader of a team that makes all of our community investment strategies. And we cover our entire footprint, so it's a lot of really fun work. Sometimes I end up being on such a tight schedule. I'm on conference calls right before I'm supposed to come out and talk to a group of people, but here we are. So I'm a health educator by background, and I actually started in health education by doing really sticky subjects like sex ed and body image talks for dancers at the School of the Arts. So I'm very used to having conversations about difficult topics. I think I kind of enjoy when things get a little sticky. So hopefully I won't make anybody in here uncomfortable, but it's okay, your secret's safe with me. So before we talk about our topic, let's do our chats part of the conversation today, where we're talking about challenges, habits, attitudes, techniques, what you've been doing, what's been working, hey, what's not been working. You look like you have a burning idea you want to shout out.
It's just that one of the challenges for me that I noticed too, that like, if I weigh myself and say, for instance, come back like, I guess a week later or something, and I call myself like trying to eat right and eat good, eat healthy or whatever, and then I look at weigh myself again, I'm like, oh my God, I ain't really lost nothing. Or I gained, and I'm like, well, why am I getting that? That makes me feel like, you know what, forget it, I'm not losing.
Oh my gosh. This is the entire lecture that we're going to talk about today.
Oh, really?
So, we can just all go home. But no, go ahead. Continue with your example that I will no longer use.
If I don't feel like I'm thinking I'm doing something right, I'm doing good, and then I see that I'm not really losing anything, yeah, that makes me want to not do anything else.
Has anybody else had that experience?
Oh, yeah.
Yes. Okay, so everybody's in agreement that this has happened to all of us. We all feel this way when this happens to us. So hold that. You want to add
We
something?
just had a conversation at our table where I have experienced that too. Are you exercising? May I ask you a question?
Yes, I am. I said,
Okay, that's how it goes.
I line dance a lot, like 3-4 hours out of a week actually. But the thing is, when I get like, I have done that. That's what I'm saying. I've been that way before. I'm not like that now because like she just asked me, well, do you feel changing my clothes? And actually, you know what? I really do. So apparently I am losing some, yeah.
Instead of fat.
Okay.
Feel like
Okay. Yeah.
muscle is heavier.
Okay.
I think personally,
Okay.
I'm going to encourage you. I'm saying you're doing
Thank you, Miss Gloria.
I'm so glad you shared that. What's your name? Jerry. So, I think we all have had that experience where you're trying to achieve a goal, it might be a weight goal or whatever, and you come against the scale, and nothing has changed even though you put in all the work. That is very frustrating. And I am going to come right back to this exact same example a little bit into the lecture that we're going to talk about, because I want to pick back up on something you said about how it makes you feel. Okay, that frustration. And then because of that way that it makes you feel, you just want to what? Forget it. Exactly. So we're going to put a pin in that. Nobody else gets to comment about that. We're going to put a pin in that until later. But now I'm going to offer something actual constructive feedback. Where another thing that happens a lot with our bodies, and y'all, my allergies just went to level 10 today.
Mine
so
did too.
if I'm not, I know, like I don't know what happened. I did I did my little Flonase and my eye drops and my Allegra. It's like I didn't do anything. So.
Nice winter weather we're
Right. If y'all don't understand something I'm saying at some point, it's just because I can't breathe out my nose and I'm not probably enunciating the way I should. But anyways, so the constructive piece with that. When we are, our brains are so smart. I mean, our brains have like this goal to achieve homeostasis, get things in balance, and maintain. That's like the very innate part of how we are formed and how we function. So when we start exercising and doing something different, you start a new meal plan or you change some things about your diet and then you start exercising or line dancing or whatever it is, you have initially, what most people experience is the initial weight loss. Maybe 5 pounds, 10 pounds, 15 pounds. I mean, you're like, no good. Yeah, no good. And then all of a sudden, nothing. You might gain a pound. Then you're like, did I change something? Was it that extra Hershey Kiss that I ate at Easter time? Was that one Hershey Kiss really the thing that has stopped all of the progress, you know? So what's happening is your bodies adjust to the change. And then everybody's heard about the plateau. And so we're frustrated because I don't need you to plateau. I need you to just continue to make progress with what we're doing so that we can get over the hump. But the only way to get over the hump is to change again. So what your body is basically telling you is, for what you are doing today, this is what we can basically maintain and balance out at. So if you're line dancing and you are following a certain plan or eating habits or whatever, and you're not seeing any more change, it's because you have successfully gotten to where your body feels comfortable at, maintaining its balance with that level of activity and eating. This is for everybody. So if you want to get to another level, it's kind of like when you're playing video games. So you've done everything you can do to get past level 1. And the only way you can get to level 2 is if you tell the video game, okay, I want to go to level 2. Like I passed level 1, now let's start level 2. So you got to hit the start button for yourself for level 2. And you need to change something about what you're doing.
I like that.
So
Yeah, I like that.
if it's line dancing, maybe instead of, let's say you're line dancing 4 days a week, maybe you line dance 3 days a week and add a resistance routine with that. So now you're in level 2. Gotcha. And so your body's like, oh, we're doing something different now, okay. Eventually you're going to get to the plateau in level 2. And your body's going to say, okay, well now you have sufficiently done everything you need to do. We can balance out right here at level 2. So to get past that plateau, then you need to change something again. And so this time it might be, all right, maybe you were line dancing, 2 days a week before, now you line dance 4 days a week. Whatever it is, the concept is exercise progression. You just got to keep progressing. There's 4 areas where you can progress. It's called the FIT principle. And I'm not sure if they've talked to you guys about this at all yet, but frequency, intensity, time, and type. You can change your frequency. That creates change in your routine. You can change your intensity. So you can take it up a level. That creates change quickly. Time. You can lengthen the amount of time that you're doing it, but most of us don't have all of that. So, or type. You can change the type of exercise you're doing. So the key here is in tricking your mind and making your body sort of get unused to what it's been doing. And that helps get you over the plateau, over the plateau, over the plateau. Just a little food for thought, something to consider. I know the hardest part though is we get used to our routine, right? And it's like, how come you can't just work with me? So, something that I do, because it doesn't have to be complicated. something that I do when I notice having picked up a little something that wasn't supposed to be there before is I will just start walking during my, when I eat. So instead of like, you know, I don't know if y'all have hour, 30-minute lunch breaks or whatever, I'll just take a part of that. And I don't really take lunch breaks because I just eat at my desk. Well, I force myself to get up from my desk and walk during that period of time. And I literally block it on my calendar, otherwise people will schedule over it. So, just a little tip. Doesn't always have to be like earth-shattering changes that you're making. Any other thoughts, techniques, attitudes, habits?
This week I lowered my calorie intake because I didn't have more time to work out, so I had to lower my calorie intake.
Gosh,
So I went down to
how did you do it,
1,800.
Pam?
Oh, I don't need a lot of food.
Oh,
Because
I would
you know
be
at our
so
age, you know,
hangry.
food don't just have the same joy and excitement that it does over the years. But
yeah.
I lowered my food and my calorie intake because I didn't have the more time.
Mm-hmm.
So if I lower my calories, get used to that, and then increase the time when the summer and the weather really change,
Right.
it's gonna be amazing.
After allergy season, right?
Yes, I've got to wait till it warm up a little bit more to see that.
That is
Yes.
good advice. I want to be like Pam one day.
And I just want
Anything else?
Well, yeah,
Habits,
had a time
attitudes, techniques?
in school.
All right. Well, looks like we are ready to jump into the topic. So, body image. So, why are we talking about body image? Obviously, the way that you view yourself, and remember our theme is mirror, mirror. So what we see when we look at ourselves, our own perception of ourselves, that can have some serious implications on our behavior, right? So we all know that person, I'm not talking about anybody in this room, but we all know that person who makes really bad decisions in their lives, and everybody can see, except for them, why they're making those bad decisions, right? Well, guess what? All of us are that person.
Right.
And a lot of times, other people in our lives can see more clearly than we can even see ourselves. So we're going to spend some time today making sure that we see ourselves more clearly and how that might be connected to your weight and weight matters in general. Okay? So there's three things we want to make sure we cover when we walk out of here. Where does body image come from? How does it impact us? We want to make sure that we talk about the connection between our own beliefs and perceptions and then the resulting actions that may come as a result of that. And then we're going to talk about some practical applications that we can employ while we walk out of here. And I'm going to give everybody a challenge to do in the next week. It's going to be a fun challenge. It's going to be really great. Okay? All right. But to get started, we are going to start with a little activity. Okay? So in section 5 of your workbook, I think it's on page 4, there is this little silhouette, body silhouette.
Got it? No, you can tell.
Everybody have it?
Help.
All right. All right. Section 5, page 4. Got it?
No, just don't write it. That's all. Yes, Dr. Williams. She's here.
Okay, so we're going to do a little group activity. So if you're not sitting at a table with someone, okay, could you join the table? Because we want you to be able to talk with one another during this activity. So, I am going to give you instructions. Everybody listen up? Everybody listen up? All right, so I need everybody to put your writing utensil in your hand. And before we actually do this activity, we're going to write something down. I'm going to give you some instructions about what you're going to write down. Number 1, it should only take you 2 seconds to think about what you're going to write down. If it takes you more than 2 seconds, you're doing it wrong. Okay? So if you think, when I tell you what you're going to write down, if whatever pops in your mind, you try to think about something else, that's not what you're supposed to write down. Go ahead and think about the first thing that came up and put it down on this paper. Okay? All right. So close your eyes so we don't have any distractions. I want you to think about the name of a man with an ideal body. 1, 2. Write that name down. Write it down. And if you don't know the person's name, just write down where you know them from. What is it? A coworker, a family member, a movie, TV show, whatever. All right?
Say the Rock.
All right. Close your eyes. We're going to do this again. Close your eyes, close your eyes, close your eyes.
Okay.
Clear your mind. This time, hold on, we're going to wait till, you can go ahead and flip there. Okay, all right. All right, this time, you're going to close your eyes. Think of the name of a woman's ideal body. A woman with an ideal body. 1, 2. Write it down. Me. No, that's right. Okay, so this is what we're going to do. Here's the activities. At your table, you are going to discuss the visible body characteristics that the person's name possesses. So for the man, make sure you talk about the man and whatever his physical body characteristics are. And then for the woman, talk about her separately. We need to make sure we're all on the same page so we're not confused here, okay? So talk about this with your group, and then we're going to talk about it together as a whole, all right? You all have 5 minutes to complete this activity.
Okay.
So, let's start with, who shall we start with? Let's start with the man's body.
Y'all ready?
Let's start with the man's body.
I look at the athleticism.
Athleticism. We're not talking about you specifically. I mean, you just happen to come in and stand up at the wrong time. So. We're talking about the type of body characteristics that would match what we consider to be, or what everybody in their mind, they had a name in mind for someone who has an ideal body. So, male characteristics.
We put down, I put athleticism and tone.
Toned, athletic. What else? Muscular. What else?
Flat stomach.
Flat stomach, abs, the six pack, a beautiful smile. Yes. What else? Y'all are being so modest. A nice chest. What are some of the names? Who are some of the people? LL Cool J. Okay. Will Smith. Who is Avery Russell?
Oh my God!
Does anybody else know? Hang on just a second.
The man that played, he's the man that played in what is it? Star Trek, Hulk, what's love got to do with it?
No, he didn't play it.
Yes, he did. He was Sunshine's man.
I'm sure.
Well, you need to Google him.
Okay, we will Google him. We will.
What's his
The
name?
panda. Now, I will tell you, in every single class, someone has brought up T'Challa. Oh, really?
What is he?
Oh, yeah,
The guy from Queen Sugar.
yeah, he's on Girls Trip. He played in Girls Trip. He was Jada's boyfriend. Right, in Girls Trip. Tell me, you're making this nice.
No. I'm gonna move past this table because they're gonna get mad at me in just a second. So let me ask you guys, who did you come up with?
Is that the Grateful Man?
Body image.
Yeah, body image characteristics. Person, body image characteristics.
Basically what they were saying.
Okay, same thing.
Small ways.
Small ways. Okay. And tall.
He was talking about, I was talking about
The Rock. Okay, so let's get a summary here. All right. So in summary, for the man, oh, we got a picture of who this person is so that we can be friends again.
Yeah.
I like to see who she talking about.
I'm gonna show you
Okay,
then.
I'm
Okay,
interested to see.
now is it the bald head though?
Girl, it might be.
Okay.
What's
My
his name?
glasses on.
So let's talk about the main characteristics. All right, let's pipe down, because I can yell at y'all all night. I got to do one more class after this. So we got muscular, six-pack, flat abs, tall, athletic, a nice booty, I mean a nice chest, a nice smile, small waist, The Rock, Will Smith, Chadwick, Morris Chestnut, Idris Elba. I mean that. Now y'all are kind of quiet. What characteristics did y'all have? Same, muscular. Okay, all the above. All right, just gonna make sure we're all on the same page. So let's talk about the woman's body. What kind of characteristics would make a woman's ideal body?
What female though, y'all?
And the baby pooch. The pooch is gone.
What female though?
We said Angela Bassett, and we were talking about she has some really nice arms. Her legs, because I'm gonna tell you, when she played Tina Turner, her legs, her whole body, she has, and I can do that too. She has her nice arms, her nice legs, huge.
And Tina Turner.
Yeah, and Tina Turner, you're right.
Okay, hang on.
You're right.
I know that this is a hot topic. So we've got legs, we've got waist, small, flat stomach, toned arms.
You ain't got the biggest in the whole world.
You ain't got the biggest, okay. All right, but still curvy. Serena. Very good. All right.
If I was a man, who's scared me.
Very fit. A little bit of something in the back. I think I had somebody in the earlier class say, everything goes in where it's supposed to go in, and it comes out where it's supposed to come out. So that's a great description. So what do y'all think about these characteristics? What do y'all think about this?
Long time ago.
I think if you can't keep that up for long, that's gonna drag, gonna change what y'all looking at.
How about this? So that we can all hear the feedback. Y'all are a lively group. Let's go a table at a time. Okay? So nobody gets to talk until I come to your table. Okay. What do you all think about the activity?
I think they're unrealistic.
Unrealistic.
Altogether unrealistic.
Altogether unrealistic. Good. How about over here?
Law of gravity is all unrealistic.
The laws of gravity
Watching that.
have ruined us all.
Keep living.
Okay, what about over here?
I like this. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead. At one time, I was like that.
Okay, and when was this?
When I was in my.
Hang on. Let's listen.
It was older than that. When I was in my late 40s.
In your late 40s? Okay, so you felt like it was attainable, but not so much today. Okay, what about over here? Okay, always had the desire to be like that.
I thought about getting carefree so I could get there.
Okay. Maybe doing what you need to do surgically or otherwise to attain that. What about right here? What do you think about it?
Body at rest, stays at rest, body emotions stays at rest.
That's right. What about over here?
If you divide, everybody would have it, but it's attainable.
If you could buy it, okay, did y'all hear what she just said?
Yes.
If you could buy it, everybody would have it. But
You have to work.
you have to work for
You
it.
said that.
Okay, so we don't need to react. Okay, how about this? Everybody listen. We don't need to react to what people are saying right now. All we're doing is listening, okay?
Thank you.
No problem. What about over here?
We can reach some of the goals,
Uh-huh.
not 100% is satisfaction. We can continue to work on it.
Okay. Any comment? I'm sorry,
I
go
thought
ahead.
that if everyone looked like that though, wouldn't it be rather boring and you wouldn't have any uniqueness in the world and things like that?
Oh my goodness, Leslie. She brought up the topic of body diversity. So these images of these people, yes ma'am.
For
to being healthy and looking like a certain body.
Now, I think that's a great thought, because I think in a lot of the images that individuals like this portray, the message is that if you are healthy, you will look like this.
You right.
That's just been my experience as a consumer in this world.
Yes.
But that leads me to this question, sort of prodded by Leslie, about body diversity. Whatever happened to body diversity? Whatever happened to that? An appreciation for it.
There are some very unhealthy skinny people.
There are.
And so, I mean, it's really not about being the thinnest or.
The fittest,
Right.
or
Very
the most toned. Okay, so let me, what's your name?
Jennifer.
Jennifer. So let's pick off of what Jennifer just said. She said it's really not about being the thinnest or the most toned or, you know, the best legs, you know, all of that. But if it's not about that, then when prompted, and only a couple of y'all didn't do this, so y'all don't get to answer this question, but for the rest of y'all, when prompted to write down a name that immediately rose out of your subconscious, so not the place where you filter through thoughts and ideas and you reason away the stuff that isn't right, the stuff that's living in a low-hanging idea place in your mind of beliefs and assumptions. When prompted to take 2 seconds to generate a name, those are the first names and the first ideals about an ideal body image that came to mind. Why is that? Where did that
It's the world we live in.
come from? That's the world we live in,
Yes,
right?
yes. And so immediately that's what you go to, because that's the norm, and that's.
But where does
what-
that norm come from?
It's been created by society. Where we be.
Society.
The
Just push
media.
out.
It's the, what's your name?
Adrian.
Adrian.
Put your name up there.
I want y'all to hear what Adrian just said.
It's the image that's pushed out towards us.
That is the image. Those are the images that are pushed out towards us. And I will even say this. A lot of those images, they aren't even real. They're photoshopped. You know, they are
Greased up.
what these companies, whose single intention is to convert what you see into a sale. Sales conversions all day long, every day.
That's true.
It is researched, and they will glamorize it, airbrush it, Photoshop it,
Grease it up.
until they can get conversions. You were going to say something, Janice?
Okay, well, Gloria and I, we both chose ours.
Mm-hmm.
Not that it was so much about how this body looked,
Mm-hmm.
but, I mean, as far as his physical look, but it's more to it than that.
It is.
The attraction.
So let me just say this, Janice. That's a great point. And I think we've had to cover this in most classes. Personality, you know, the person themselves, who they are.
That's right.
Attraction, yes. All of that is like level 2. But where we're at, for the purposes of today, I want to stay really superficial.
Okay.
Body image. What do we see? What do we think based off of what we see? What is fed to us? What are the messages that are fed to our ears, fed to our eyes? Messages that are filtered down to us all day long, every day, about image. You gotta have a flat stomach to what?
Flat stomach, a big butt, a big boob.
Flat stomach, big butt, big boob, and a tiny waist.
Right. Pretty much.
Get about me then.
Long hair down to the butt.
And then if you don't have that, then what?
Me too.
You're what? You're not in shape, or
You're not accepted.
you're not accepted. All right, what's your name? Charlene. Hit the nail on the head.
You'll
If
never
you
be
don't
on
have
glamour.
this, you just ain't enough.
Right.
And so that's part of these sales. Now listen, I'm not saying that any of these messages are true.
No, not at all.
So we're not talking about truth right now. What we're talking about is what is being fed to our minds.
Right.
And a lot of times it's things it's so crafty because it creates desire within us. Have you ever been sitting on a couch watching your favorite TV show or whatever, and a commercial pops up? Now everybody's feeling pretty good right now, pretty, whatever. Nobody's really desiring anything like, oh, let's just say, all of a sudden a commercial comes on for Dewey's Cupcakes. And they're doing a buy one, get 10 free sale. And they've got the camera lights just glistening on the icing just right. And all of a sudden, I wasn't thinking about it 5 minutes ago, but I sure want them buy one, get 10 free Dewey's Cupcakes. You put an appointment in your calendar for the next day at 10 a.m. and before you know it, you've got a whole slew of Dewey's Cupcakes. Hang on. Adrian is talking.
So today, Ben and Jerry's had free ice cream.
Ah. You didn't even Ben and Jerry's yesterday.
Should have said that.
Well, how about this? I got another good example. When Chick-fil-A does the dress up as a cow day, you don't have anything related to a cow in your house. But all of a sudden, you've got so kids. I mean, people are making cow outfits out of black Sharpie markers and white pieces of paper.
I was talking about eating Mickey Mouse ears and an old T-shirt and put the marker.
But I mean, isn't that the purpose of advertisement and media? To create desire within us, even that we didn't realize that we had to begin with. So that's one place, a huge source of where all these images come from. Where else?
I can be laying in the bed at night, minding my own business, and Burger King come on, buy one, get one free, and it stays open all night sometimes. I go out in my pajamas, and I go get me one. When I get back, I eat that and go right to sleep. I wake up as big as the bed. I mean, that's just a weight gain. I hate when they show food late at night.
So to Mary's point, hang on. So to Mary's point,
That's a challenge for real.
a lot of times what happens is we don't necessarily, we're minding our own business.
Yeah, that's right.
And because the thing is in our face, it creates that desire. And we will climb a mountain and go through a river to make sure we can get it. But aside from what we see on TV, where else does it come from? Leslie.
When we go shopping for clothes, I know I worked in retail for a little bit, and I do remember when everything came out about Americans being larger. So what they did is they changed the sizes. That 4 was really a 6, but they made it a 4, so people would feel comfortable in making the clothes fit. So a lot of times when you're shopping for clothes, the different things that the models, the store mannequins have on, and things like that, they don't have big, like, Lulu outfits out there. There's all these nice, slim, metal outfits that people want to buy. So when you go shopping for clothes, that's constantly bombarding you.
Yeah.
They may not even carry your size.
Yeah.
Or they do something like those big lady sizes. So,
They put a different section.
Exactly.
Yeah, this is for y'all.
Yeah.
Target got the bigger mannequins now.
Oh, they do. It's true. Some retailers are doing that.
what?
So we're still talking about
Yeah, I say that.
a lot of media influence, a lot of social influence. I want us to move away from media and social influence. Where else does it come from?
It comes from in here and now in the gyms and stuff. So it comes from us.
Everyday life.
From us,
Yes, it
Everyday
does.
life.
from each other,
Yeah, from each other.
from peers.
Exactly.
Well, then where do we get it from?
Your family.
Your family.
Right.
Yes.
People are taught to eat everything on their plate, you're not getting, and
Yeah.
Yes.
people say that's the truth.
So what's your name?
Regina.
Regina? All right.
Vagina.
Vagina. I'm sorry. So Pam and Vagina just brought up really great points. We are part of the problem, right?
Yeah.
We reinforce these ideals
Yes.
about what a body should look like, what we think an ideal body looks like. Our families reinforce those ideas, right? No matter what size you are, everybody on the planet has probably at some point encountered issues related to body image. Simply because of the messages that we are fed and the reinforcement that comes behind those messages, either by family or by peers.
Right.
And so think about a child in their formative years. These identities are being molded and shaped and being told one thing by peers, coming home and that being reinforced in the most formative environment, which is the home, with the family, with the people that shape identity.
Can I give an example?
Yes.
We have the Latina culture that'll come over, and in their families, to be here is like a privilege, so food is a commodity. So they feed their kids a lot of food. Because that's a commodity for some of them that's from our Latinos, so they have a lot of obese Latina kids now, but that's the mindset, and that's where that comes from.
That's a great example. I'm going to take that example a step further. I'm going to give y'all a personal story. I didn't catch my time because I can already feel myself going a little too far. So we're gonna wrap this up after this example, and we're gonna move on to something else. So basically, what we're exploring is, where do these ideals of body image come from? How do they impact an individual who's overweight? So let me use myself as an example, because I know this is probably not happening to anybody in here. So growing up, I've always been kind of petite. Okay.
Really?
Growing up,
I'm sorry,
I have to preface this story with that.
Okay, fine.
So growing up, so let me just say also, every single woman in my family is overweight, very overweight, except for one other cousin. Okay. So growing up, I was always told by my aunts, "Girl, you're gonna be big like us one day." I mean, I'm talking from my earliest, probably like 5 or 6 years old, starting to be told that. You're going to be big like us. And I had a big appetite, so, you know. But anyways, I was always told, you're going to be big. You're going to be big, you're going to be big. Well, I remember one year, I was home from college, and it was Christmas time, so my whole family was there. And now, I was probably wearing some jeans from high school that I probably should not have still been wearing, but whatever, you know. I was in line getting my food, and one of my cousins, not the thin one, one of my cousins came up to me, poked me in my stomach. Now, mind you, I don't have any food on my plate yet. And she came up to me and poked me in my stomach and said, "That's not cute." And I was like, okay. I didn't say anything, but I was like, you got my nerve. But I'm just saying. But it was just that reinforced message about what I should look like, what I better be careful I don't end up looking like. This is someone who has, aside from a couple pregnancies, been pretty petite your whole life. So it doesn't matter what size you are. What matters is the messages that you are fed and the beliefs that you form as a result of those messages. So, we're going to do something miraculous, and we're going to watch a video, and we're going to wrap up in about 10 minutes.
Thank you.
Because I'm running a little late on time. But as we watch this video, I want you all to think about your own experience with weight. I want you all to think about how this has impacted your own actions, learned behaviors, and some of your own beliefs.
Here. At a moment, I'm going to step into my office here at my home and pull out my computer and show you exactly.
that my mom would say, well, they're wrong. You are not that. You are as good as anybody else. And if I came home and said that somebody had said that I was not as good as boy, well, I could be certain that my dad would say, don't listen to that. You can do anything those boys can do, even better. And if I came home and said that somebody had called me fat and said that I wasn't as good as somebody thin, well, I could be certain that I would be told, they're right, now lose weight. And my community of loved ones would support that. I started taking dance classes when I was 3. Not only did I love it, but I was good at it. By the time I was 7, I was one of the dancers that my teachers brought in to demonstrate the steps to the younger children. It was a source of great pride for me. But when I turned 8, I started gaining weight. So one Saturday, I'm standing in front of the admiring foreign bodybuilders, head high, in position, ready to demonstrate the step. Mid-step, our beloved teacher looks in the mirror, turns to me, and screams, "You are getting so fat!"
Oh my God.
End of great pride. Beginning of self-hate. There were other dance classes, and I sang in choirs, and I wrote poetry, acted in plays. But looking in the mirror after that, I didn't see someone who had talent. I didn't see a beautiful black girl. I didn't see me. I just saw fat. So, up and down the scale I went. Hate what I saw in the mirror to feel better. Feel bad about eating too much, eat to feel better. Lose weight, eat to celebrate. Gain weight, eat because I hated the fact that I couldn't keep the weight off. Hate the weight, eat to feel better. I was on an emotional roller coaster ride. There's so much talk today about this war on obesity, and I'd like to think that people are well-intentioned, but they're coming from this place of wanting us to love our bodies enough to want to take care of them. I said I'd like to believe that, but I can't. Because wars, even metaphorical, create hate, not love. And this so-called war on obesity, it has created a normalization of looking down on anyone who's seen as overweight. It has created the opportunity for people to assume the worst of us, to offer unsolicited advice. Or if you just tried the grapefruit diet, it worked for me. It has created the last socially acceptable form of outright discrimination in this country. We must have a sit at the proverbial lunch counters of hatred. We must move not out of hate, but out of love. Love for ourselves and these miraculous bodies that we've been born into. And love for our children who deserve to live in a world where body diversity and holistic wellness are celebrated. When I was in my late 20s, I just missed ballet so much. I had to take a class. No big risk. I'm never going to be a dancer at this point. So what if I'm significantly larger than everyone else in the class? My soul needs this. So there I am, poised again. And the teacher walks over to me, stands in front of me, and says, "You are very good." She saw me, not overweight me, not unworthy me, just me. And the weight of the hate got lighter tend to reflect what we don't already believe about ourselves. And what I believe about me today is that I have a lot to offer the world. And making healthier choices, both emotionally and physically, result directly from me learning to love me.
All right, so we're going to stop it there. What did you guys think about the video?
I like it. Saying some positive things.
She said a lot of good things. Did y'all catch what she said about mirrors? She said mirrors are not designed to reflect what we don't already believe about ourselves. Or essentially, mirrors are created to reflect what we believe.
Right.
And until her teacher told her that she was getting too fat, she saw herself as a beautiful black girl. But then she said, looking in the mirror after that, she didn't see herself. She only saw fat. And all the things that she believed about fat. And so she started on this emotional roller coaster. You hate what you see in the mirror, so you eat to feel better. She hated her weight, so she ate to feel better. She felt bad about eating too much, so she ate to feel better. She gained weight, and she ate to feel better. She lost weight, and she ate to celebrate. So what's happening here is this negative cyclical pattern connected directly to a belief. And that belief was formed years before this pattern began. And so what I am trying to impress upon each of you tonight is the power that these held beliefs that we have on our actions and on our patterns. So very quickly, we're going to run through how actions are formed. No one just does stuff, okay? You don't just up and eat half a box of Krispy Kreme donuts and you don't know how it happened. Every single action is an after effect. So there are lots of thoughts and emotions that happened before that action ever transpired. So, for example, ABC, which is basically a model that breaks down how behaviors happen, an activating event happens. So that's your trigger. You have a formed belief about that event, about that trigger. That belief is connected to a feeling. However you feel results in an action that you take. So let's use our example, actually from Jerry. I stepped on the scale again, and I have gained a pound. I have not lost any weight. Sound familiar? The belief. I have tried this before. It didn't work then. It ain't gonna work now. The feelings. Angry, frustrated, disappointed, annoyed. The behavior. I'm throwing out the meal plan. I'm throwing out the exercise plan. I'm not doing this anymore. And so guess what? Yes, you are exactly right. You have confirmed your own belief through your actions. Whether that belief is true or not. Because you believe it, your actions follow your belief. And so that's why this message of how we view ourselves, whether we honestly want to view ourselves like that or not, they have a significant impact on your ability to not lead yourself down cyclical, negative patterns. Now, if this doesn't show up for you in the form of eating too much or eating in a reaction to things, it might show up for you somewhere else. It might show up for you as far as what you believe about your capabilities, what you believe about your skin color, what you believe about what somebody told you when you were 4 years old and you didn't realize to an adult that that was your drunk uncle who said stuff like that all the time. And so what he said doesn't count anyway. But you formed a belief off of it. And so here you are, a grown adult, finding yourself in bad relationships, and bad jobs, in a bad pattern. And you have no idea how you have created these behaviors. So, to close, I'm going to challenge everybody. You have these blank boxes in your workbook. Over the next week, everybody is going to be challenged to unwind a negative, ineffective belief that you might have. But they can be tricky to spot because they live in your subconscious and they're not very overt. They kind of whisper and you kind of like walk around. You just don't even know how you ended up doing this again, right? So this is how we're going to do it. We're actually going to start with the pattern. Whatever that pattern is for you. It might be showing up late to everything. It might be being in a bad relationship after a bad relationship. It might be eating the box of Oreos that you don't even know how you ended up eating the whole box. But we're going to start with the behavior. Everybody knows what that behavior might be for you because we are human and we all have them, okay? Nobody's perfect. So whatever that pattern is, once you have spotted the pattern, and you know you did it. You might have done it 5 minutes ago. You might have done it this morning. You might do it tonight. Bing, you spotted it. You're going to walk backwards. How was I feeling? The best way that you can really, really get up under this, y'all, is to ask the question, why? So you've identified how you were feeling. Why were you feeling like that? Where did it come from? If your answer to why is because somebody else said, then why did you feel that way because that person said that? And if it's because somebody, no, then why did you feel that? So you're just going to keep asking why and why and why until you get to the root. Then that's how you get to the belief. I did that because I was afraid that this person was going to make me vulnerable. This situation was going to make me vulnerable because I did not think that I could do it. Something about you. That's how you get to the belief. And then from there, you can actually change your belief. You can create a new pattern. You can break the cycle. So, this is important work. This is going to be your personal task for the next week. It's going to be personal. You're not sharing it with a group. You're not sharing it with anybody else. So please take it seriously. The great thing about an activity like this is that even if it's the smallest little thing, sometimes what you can do is figure out where that behavior is showing up in other areas of your life that you didn't even realize it. Where that belief is showing up in other areas of your life, and you didn't realize it. So it has huge implications. We're closing. This is the end. If anybody has any thoughts or questions, happy to chat with you afterwards. But in closing, I will just say that this is important work because until you begin to identify where those negative patterns come from, it is very difficult to change behavior and to achieve the goals that many of you have. But I know that you all can do it. Okay? Thank you all so much. I appreciate your time. Thank you. And I think that Dr. Brown may have some announcements. Yeah.